Welcome to Reddit After Hours. This is r/MaliciousCompliance, where a creepy school dean gets his request fulfilled, but not in the way he was hoping. Our first Reddit post comes from MD Lapla, titled Creepy Dean Asks Creepy Request. IT Complies. Around 2000-2001 in Argentina, I did a network admin course. The guy that taught the course was also an admin in a university, let's call him IT professional, and he told us this story. The department of the university IT professional worked for dealt mostly with philosophy and philosophy-related careers, and it was around 95% female students. Mostly high school graduates, but also a lot of people that, once retired, started the career as a hobby. In Argentina, university can be free of charge, actually. Wow, that's kind of cool. In Argentina, IDs are numbered and sequential. So, for instance, if an ID starts with 28 million, you can estimate what year that person was born in. There's only one caveat. Foreign-born people that have gained citizenship get a number that starts with something like 80 million. The dean, let's call him Creepy Dean, at the department was a 50 to 55-year-old dude with, you guessed it, a pretty creepy behavior. IT professional could access browsing history of every single person in the department, and let's just say his wasn't pretty nor university related. Creepy Dean taught a couple of mid-career courses. He was one of several professors that taught this course. Each year, each university assigns the students to the courses they ask for and divides them between all available professors. Sometimes this is done by hand. Sometimes it's randomized somehow. This is handled by each department. In this case, it was done by a computer program that randomized everything, so each course had a wide array of different students. This program was something that the IT professional created because prior to that, this was done manually. One day, Creepy Dean calls IT professional and tells him, I want, in my courses, just female students with IDs starting at 35 million or more. Get it done. And remarked to IT professional that his job was on the line if he didn't comply. Since 95% of the faculty was female, this is a creepy request, but Creepy Dean knew that it wouldn't be as notorious. He could always blame it on chance. And at that time, his behavior was not something that could have gotten Creepy Dean fired, but the university board members wouldn't be too happy about his behavior either. IT professional understood that 35 million or more on the ID was for people that were roughly 21 to 22 years old or younger. Creepy Dean wanted some eye candy and who knows what else. But Creepy Dean just said female 35 million or more. So IT professional complied. He assigned all foreign female students with IDs starting at 80 million and all older than 65 to Creepy Dean's courses. Creepy Dean was furious the first day of classes. He wanted IT professional fired. IT professional told him, I've complied with your request, even though it was weird and something that I'm sure the board members wouldn't be too happy to find out about. IT professional told us Creepy Dean got, quote, dishonorably discharged as a dean a couple of months after this story. There were some speculations, but he never found out exactly why he was discharged. Our next Reddit post comes from Gingasan Paris, titled, You want me to participate in the weekly all hands? No problem. I just saw an article about Mercedes-Benz allowing Teams calls with a camera to their vehicles, and it reminded me of this situation. Several years ago, I worked for a small solar company that was acquired by what is essentially the Walmart of solar. We went from weekly in-person meetings on a schedule that worked for both management and staff to daily check-ins, weekly department calls, and other unnecessary regional calls and meetings. What was initially 2 to 3 short meetings per week turned into around 10 to 45-minute to an hour meetings per week. My responsibilities were about 20% in office and 80% field work. Some of the locations that I needed to get to were an hour plus away, and a lot of times I was crunched to get to 5 to 6 locations within the workday. For as long as I could, I would either skip a call if I was in the field, or I would listen and not participate so I was, quote, on the call at least, but could still take care of whatever tasks I needed to. I ended up getting reprimanded and told to just park and take the calls, but that I needed to participate in all of them or I would be written up. So that's what I did. If a call was happening, I would find the closest parking lot, take the call, and participate. This company also scrutinized overtime and hours, so we couldn't work OT without approval. This meant if I didn't get something done, I would just head back to the office and reschedule it for the following day. My coworkers did the same, and our productivity dropped by an overall 60%. Within a month, our regional manager was in our office asking us what the hell was going on, and we told her directly that we have a large region to cover, and most of these calls are nonsense corporate feel-good BS. If they wanted productivity where it was before, they needed to cut the meetings because meetings didn't improve metrics. Actually being able to work does. They did cut our meetings, but it turned into a crap show when the big company fully took over. That office is now officially closed because while we had the second best metrics in the entire company, we were tired of the BS and we all quit, and they could not replicate our quality or quantity of installations in that office. Our next Reddit post comes from Candle Gleam, titled "Dress More Appropriately for Church." Sure, I'll follow the rule literally. A couple of years ago, I joined a small but tight-knit church community. Everyone was pretty relaxed. People came in jeans, dresses, even t-shirts, sometimes, especially at youth services. No one was disrespectful, just comfortable. I usually wore long skirts or dress pants and nice tops. Nothing flashy and definitely nothing revealing. But apparently that wasn't churchy enough for one particular elder, an older woman. After service one day, she pulled me aside and said, with that sweet fake smile, "Sweetheart, I just wanted to encourage you to dress a bit more appropriately. We should always look our best for the Lord." I was confused. I asked what exactly was inappropriate about my outfit. A long navy skirt, a tucked-in blouse, and flats. She said, "It's not bad, but, not quite holy attire. Maybe think about what you'd wear if Jesus was sitting in the front row." So, the next Sunday, I showed up in my most over-the-top church outfit. Full floor length choir robe, white gloves, a wide-brimmed hat, and a fake bird and a little veil, Bible in hand, stockings, low heels, and pearls. I looked like I was either about to preach, get baptized, or time travel back to 1954. People stared. One usher asked if I was part of the clergy now. Someone whispered, "Is she in a play?" And bless her heart, the elder gave me a stunned little nod when I sat close to her and said, "You look very reverent today." Thank you. I figured this is how Jesus would want me to show up. Next week, back to my usual outfit. And I never got a comment again. Our next Reddit post comes from King of Mooks, titled "CEO's Assistant Said It Wasn't Right I Had a Nicer Chair Than He Did." A very mild one, a bit wordy, with not particularly satisfying payoff. A while back, my wife and I were buying our house after a few years of rental. There was a delay in the new house being ready, so we moved in with my mother for a few weeks. During that time, I stashed some stuff at work, including bringing in my chair, a very nice Herman Miller Aeron that I had gotten secondhand. The office chairs were old, standard, serviceable, but not exactly nice. After a few days, I noticed that my chair would be in the conference room every morning. Not a problem. I just wheeled it back to my desk, and I was working 8 to 4 to avoid traffic, so I was usually first in anyway. The CEO of about 120 people would usually not arrive until about noon and take later meetings when most of the staff were away. After a few days, the chair kept ending up at his desk. We have an open floor plan, thankfully, so I just took it back every morning. I wasn't foolish enough to go into the CEO's office. He'd shoot me a dirty look every morning, but that was it. After a few more days of this back and forth, the CEO's assistant, who was a lovely person who I felt immense pity for, approached me and told me that the CEO didn't think it was appropriate that I had a nicer chair than him. People would think that my desk belonged to the CEO and it was stressing her out having to basically fight for it every day on his behalf. I told her that I understood completely and would stop fighting over it. I took it out of the office that lunchtime and reclaimed a normal office chair. The next day, she came over and asked where the chair was. I said with an incredibly straight face that I thought since it wasn't appropriate, I just took it to my car. She had a super stunned look, but just kind of ran off. Since I was almost always first in, I always got parking near the building. Pretty much everyone got to walk past my car on the way into the office and see my chair in the back for a few more weeks. However, given his cowardly nature, I never got approached about it again. To this day, I'm 100% certain they thought I was just going to give in and let him have my chair. Instead, I got the joy of telling everyone the honest truth about why my chair was in my car for weeks. Our next Reddit post comes from Little Diddy02, titled, "Okay, let's call the park officer." This happened the 4th of July weekend. I'm a member and have a place in a self-contained camp community. Nice, quiet, with a lake and pools and a restaurant and things like that. I love it because my kid can be a kid like I was and go wander with friends and disappear until dinner time, and I don't have to worry. Our place is on a small cul-de-sac that is grassed in, and we use it for kids to play and set up cornhole and all that. Because it's July 4th, a bunch of people have guests, so the park is more full than normal. And a guest of someone on the circle parked at the edge of the grass. Well, my kid and another kid were playing catch, and one of the kids missed the ball and it hit the parked car. The owner of the car comes out hot and going at the kids. Me and the other kid's parents both go over to calm the situation. Obviously, if there's damage, we'll take care of it because it's from our kids. But this guy starts going off about all these dents and a big scratch and a crack in his windshield. And all this stuff is the kid's fault. I was willing to be reasonable, but when you start saying that you want a ton of extra work done trying to blame my kid, I get a little less reasonable. So we're going back and forth, and then he says the magic word that if we aren't willing to pay for everything, he's going to call the park safety office to come deal with it. Knowing where this was going, I smiled and said, yes, okay, let's do that. So the officer comes out, and to no one's surprise but this guy's, the area his car is parked is a no parking area. So not only does the officer tell him to deal with it, because if he had followed the rules and parked in an actual parking zone, this wouldn't have happened. And because the guy told him that he had been parked there for 2 days with no issues before now, he got a nice fat ticket and ordered to move his car. He turned bright red but didn't say another word and moved his car, and we didn't see or hear from him the rest of the weekend. Well, you know what they say, OP. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. That was Reddit After Hours, bringing you r/MaliciousCompliance. Thank you all so much for listening, and if you like these stories, like and subscribe for more Reddit content.